Hey everyone, today I'm going to talk about Acalli Chocolate out of New Orleans, Louisiana in the United States. That's in the southeastern United States. It has a rich cultural and food history, so this is an interesting place to have chocolate coming out of. So Acalli was started by Carol Morse in 2015. And let's back up a couple of years and see where the seed of chocolate making came from for her. So her husband Luke in 2013 was doing his PhD at Tulane in Mayan languages. And during the summers he would go to Guatemala to work on archaeological digs, as archaeologists do. And so at the time in 2013, she was working in microfinance. She has a background in anthropology and economic development. And she was working in microfinance for a California company that was a nonprofit microfinance company. And she was able to work remotely while she was in Guatemala. While there, she decided to visit some cacao growers in Belize. And you recognize the name, Maya Mountain Cacao Growers. They're a social enterprise that was founded in 2010 to bring more value to the farmers and teach them about high quality cacao. So she got to visit them and she was very intrigued. She got home to New Orleans and decided that she was going to try to do this. She was going to try and make chocolate. So she got herself some small batch equipment, but she had no formal culinary training, as many chocolate makers do. Some come from the pastry end, some come from other fine food, and some come knowing nothing about the culinary world except that they want to make chocolate. So she was one that had no formal culinary training, and like many in that case, she learned online from places like Chocolate Alchemy and John Nancy and forums like on the Chocolate Life. So the following summer in 2014, they went back to Guatemala and she visited the Norandino co-op in northern Peru. That is quite a large co-op and it covers a very big region in several regions in Peru. And she was very impressed by them, and so she started buying beans from them as well. So that's actually where her El Platanal bar, the beans come from northern Peru. So because of her history in anthropology and economic development, she's very attracted to the people side of chocolate. And it's very important to her to be sourcing in person, and she wants the cacao growers to be paid a fair price and to treat the cacao as a value-added specialty product and not a commodity as it's treated in most places in the world. So she had these small batch equipment. About a month after she started, she submitted this particular bar to the Good Food Awards to see how it would do. And she won. And when you win an award like that, crazy people like me who follow awards that have to do with chocolate are like, hey, I want to try this chocolate. So she had this huge increased demand that she was not prepared for. And one of the difficult things that she said is that transitioning to scale up was a very difficult process for her. So her three original bars were the El Platanal, the Norandino, and Milk and Nibs. And I don't have any. The only one I have is the El Platanal. So I have a couple of bars from her that we'll take a look at today, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the packaging and her name. So here's the El Platanal bar. I'm going to open that one today. Then I have the Tiapa and the Tiapa Dulce, which is from Mexican cacao. And then I have these three here. I think I'm saying this right. Barataria Blend. Barataria. I think so. So I have it in three different levels of cacao. So there's a milk, there's a 70, I think it is, and an 81. And actually these are interesting because she actually listens to feedback that her customers give her. I believe this 51 and this 81 came about because of customer feedback. So I'm gonna flip the camera around. We'll talk a little bit more about her packaging and the symbolism there, and we'll open one of the bars and taste it together. Okay, so let's take a look at these bars. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the ones that I'm not going to open today first. So this one, the Tiapa from Mexico, it's from Tabasco, Mexico. It is also done by a co-op you may have heard of if you're into cacao. The Agrofloresta. It's a group of agronomists working out of Mexico. This one is interesting because it kind of has a marshmallow flavor to it. This one is more like warm spices like cinnamon and nutmeg. And then she has the Barataria Blends. This one she made, this is a mix of the El Platanal out of Peru and the Norandino Tumbes. So it's a mix of beans from Peru, this one. But what she was trying to highlight in these bars is the raw Louisiana cane sugar. So there are not many places in the US where you can source local cane sugar. Louisiana happens to be one of them. So she gets her cane sugar from Three Brothers Farms, and it lends a kind of molasses kind of flavor to the chocolate. So that's the Barataria blend. Okay, this is the one I'm going to open today. So let's just move these ones over. And this is the one, this is her bestseller. It's her most popular bar, and she says it's her most complex bar. So this one is actually a mix of genetic variety from, they believe, they haven't really classified it, but they believe it's Nacional, Maranon, and Upper Amazon cacao. It's out of Peru, Peruvian cacao, and interestingly enough, it has 40 to 60% white bean content. If you're not familiar with that, some people consider white beans to be the higher quality of bean. So that's interesting. The other thing interesting about this bar is, where's the camera? If you look at the ingredients, we're not going to cheat and look at those yet. If you look at the ingredients, cacao and cane sugar, no added cocoa butter. So this bar has a little bit of a slower melt because of that. Oh, I didn't tell you about the name and the symbol here. So the name Acalli is Natal for canoe. So Natal is the Aztec language, the same language where we get the word chocolate from. So same language. And this little picture right here is a picture of a canoe. So she chose the canoe as a symbol because she says that it's a way of connecting people in distant places. She likes the elegant simplicity of it and the fact that it's the promise of adventure and discovery. So that's the name and the symbolism there. So let's open up this chocolate. Let's take a look at the back. So just talks about that the cacao growers dry and ferment, and she roasts and refines. I'm not going to cheat and look at those. We already talked about how it is a 2-ingredient bar. Then we have the batch number, batch 49. So yeah, she submitted this right away to the Good Food Awards, and they quite enjoyed it. Apparently that they awarded it, and that was, she wasn't quite prepared for it because she was just starting out, but not a bad thing to have happen to you. Okay, let's see if I can get this open. Alright. Smells nice. There's a little bit of a shine to it. Not super shiny. Nice thickness. It has a nice smell. Okay. Looks good. The tempering looks good. Let's listen for the snap. Good snap. Nice fine grain there. Doesn't look like there's any problems in the temper. Okay, so I'm gonna just rub my thumb a little bit on it to warm up the cocoa butter and release some of the volatile compounds. And I will smell it, and then we'll taste it and see what we can get out of the flavor and the aroma. Alrighty, so when I smell this, I get a nice chocolate aroma, as you expect, and I also get plums. When I taste it, the plum is much more subtle than in the smell, and I get a more orangey citrus kind of flavor that intensifies through the middle. And in the finish, I get a little bit of cinnamon and maybe even pepper. So nice bar. It is, as she says, a little bit more complex than some of her other bars. This is a fun trio that she has because it's the same beans but at different percentages, and you would think they would taste all the same, but they don't quite taste all the same. There's a lemony undertone, less so for this one, but the other ones, they still have lemony sameness, but other things come out as well, so that's fun to taste together. So that is Acalli. Let's flip the camera around and finish up. All right, so that's Acalli Chocolate out of New Orleans. As far as I know, she's close to a one-person operation. I believe her husband helps her. I believe she may have another sibling that helps her sometimes. I just checked on her website and she sold out of her most popular bar, and I find that because she's a single person making this chocolate that sometimes she is sold out of some of her inventory. So if you happen to be in New Orleans and come across some of her stuff, grab it up when you can. It's interesting chocolate and have fun tasting it, and that's Acalli. So if you want to hear more about chocolate makers in the future, or you just like hearing the stories behind the chocolate, make sure you subscribe and like this video, and we'll see you next time.